Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your closing bell for Wednesday, February 15th, 2023. Back with Southside Riley. And again, I blame all the early week madness for not being consistent here. Our goal obviously is to get out as much information as we can on a daily basis, to educate, to get people lined up, at least give them our thoughts, what our trained eyes are, what I'm thinking, what Riley's thinking, or whoever our guest is thinking. And I just had a few minutes to catch up to Riley, and I will give you this. Moving forward, Monday through Friday, 4 or 4:30 our time, there will be a closing bell, whether it's me and Riley, whether it's Riley and a guest. We will make sure someone is in the studio to get out as much information moving forward on the games. This is the time of year that I absolutely love. The regular season in the college ranks are coming to, I don't want to say an end, but they're getting closer towards the end. Conference championship win and ends. March Madness. NBA is coming up to the All-Star break this week. Soon we'll be talking NBA, NHL playoffs. World Baseball Classic tonight, 7 o'clock, myself and Scott Webb. Yes, the return of Scotty Webb. We'll be talking WBC, MLB, spring training, moves, futures, whatever. So we're going to get into some of those talks. We're going to try to get out as much information as possible moving forward. That's what we're here for. That is what our aim is. And again, I haven't been on the bell this week. So hearts, thoughts, prayers to Michigan State, the 3 that lost their lives, the injured, as having a daughter on campus at UConn. Whenever I hear anything going on campuses, my heart goes out. It's the most helpless feeling in the world, is, having kids going to school to learn, to be educated, to have fun, and to have something like this break out. But again, thoughts and prayers there to everyone there. So I'm actually wearing one of my UConn sweatshirts that my daughter got me. So I figured I'd wear that today. Loud and proud Huskies. So without further ado, let's bring him back. Mr. Southside Riley himself, Riley Magnuson. Good afternoon, Riley.
Afternoon, my friend. Happy Wednesday afternoon. I am ready to rock and roll. We've got some decent college basketball games tonight. Haven't put it out, but I've got my PGA blog for the weekend in the works. I've got my picks, so we can talk about that at any point here. And then obviously some NBA games and whatever else we've got going on this week and this weekend. So, like I said, a handful of really good college basketball games tonight. It, as you mentioned, it is getting close to that season, and these games here, these next couple of weeks leading up to the conference tournaments, are going to be some pretty huge games with some of these teams on bubble watch. In my Big Ten range last night, Wisconsin and Michigan, on paper, might not seem like the biggest game in the world, but as far as the bubble watch, that was a huge one for Wisconsin. Could have been a huge one at the start of a run for Michigan, but obviously a setback that might be a little too hard to overcome at this point. But Wisconsin now, as long as they don't go off the rails, if they can win a few more games here, they have a real chance of getting in there after a rough start in the middle, or a rough middle of the season. So excited to see what we've got going on tonight, and maybe get into some of those conversations with a few of those teams tonight. But like I said, a few good games, so I am ready to rock and roll, my friend.
It was funny yesterday. On my Facebook timeline, 5-year anniversary, I took my youngest daughter, who's at UConn now, 5 years ago yesterday, to Providence and Villanova, and we were sitting right behind one of the hoops. That was when Nova came in fresh off of their number one ranking, and Providence beat them. And watching the Providence game last night, double overtime, take down Creighton, that was one of the games I left on the desk. I had a lot of people reach out, and this is why, again, I was disappointed not to have a closing bell last night. The stench of the night came flying in. That was the Oklahoma Sooners against Kansas State. I thought that was the stench of the night. Kansas State, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 games over 500, and here comes an Oklahoma team. I think it was 12-13 or something. A pick 'em, and then they actually closed 1.5-point favorites. They take care of K-State last night there. So the ECSI VIPs, it's just kind of crazy the run we've been in the last 12 weeks now. 9 envelope Mondays, 1 losing week, 2 pushes. On Sunday, we cashed Pat Mahomes MVP plus 400 we got before the tournament started. We cashed the teaser KC plus 7.5 and over 43.5. We cashed that. We had a 3-team action parlay. All 3 legs came in. We hit 3 different parlays. We were literally plus 28 units on Sunday. It was stupid. Yeah. So we had one of those crazy weeks. You haven't had a chance to talk. I'm going to give you the platform and stage. Your thoughts about the Super Bowl, what you saw, what you had, and overall your impressions on the game.
Yeah, no, I think like a lot of people, I think both those teams were very deserving of being there. And, obviously a lot of people thought the Eagles were the better team going into it. But regardless of that holding call, whether you agree with it or not, there's that's not the Rams-Saints lack of pass interference type call that decided that game, so – credit to the Chiefs and with some of the banged up injuries that they had. I think the most, biggest point that I took away from it was just how impressive from the point of whatever it was 2-3 years ago of them losing to Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl, and the way their offensive line was hurt and looked awful in that game was the reason they lost that game, especially lost by as much as they did. Really the reason why they won the other day. And with the narratives of the Eagles all season long, what they did to the 49ers, obviously they didn't have the quarterbacks, but it was because of their pass rush that got to the quarterbacks. The Chiefs not having to have those same type of concerns was the biggest reason there. And, the finally the second half emergence of Juju Smith-Schuster after, being almost absent in the first half and, not really being, a player of the year candidate by any means, or, number one, questionable whether he's number one receiver all season long, making a borderline MVP type impact there in the second half, obviously was a huge factor there. So, credit has to go to the Eagles offensive line, or excuse me, to the Chiefs offensive line. And, I'm interested to see what happens with the Eagles going forward. Lose both coordinators to head coaching jobs there. So, I think they'll be just fine next year as long as they can stay healthy, obviously. But, there's going to be some maybe some growing pains going into next year, I would say.
And again, I got a little discussion with someone, a real good friend and colleague, and I had to bite my tongue because Jalen Hurts didn't become Jalen Hurts till he got A.J. Brown, someone to cross the middle. The offensive line obviously got better. They had a 3-headed monster. Their defense, as you said, I think they had 70 sacks. They didn't have 1 sack against Mahomes. Now the all the free agents, and I'm hearing rumors that Jalen Hurts could command $50 million per year. And I'm just like, they talk about the rookie deals and these quarterbacks. That's when you got to really make headway. And then when these quarterbacks, if you define them as, this is my guy for the next 10 years, then you got to pay them. I like the progression of Jalen Hurts. He brings so much to the game. I'm talking in your city, not your guy, but I think Justin Fields has an opportunity to make that next step. Now, you need help on the offensive line. David Montgomery is a free agent. I think Khalil Herbert and someone else will be fine back there. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with Mooney. I'm okay with Cole Kmet. Okay. I told your partner, your ex-partner, or your partner, your friend in crime, the Bear fan, You got the number one pick. You didn't want the number one pick. You trade down and you get a boatload and you build that way. That's number one. Number two,
Yeah.
T. Higgins is available. That's the guy.
Yeah.
You go, I don't want D-Hop. Listen, I like D-Hop, okay? Steroids hurt. That's not the guy, okay? You want a wide receiver if you believe in Justin Fields. Go get T. Higgins. How do you do it? Well, you got the number one pick. You're not drafting a quarterback. So unless you're going to go and get a guy on the O-line where you can move back 3, 4, 5 picks and still get your guy, whether it's Willie Anderson or someone like that. But you need a number one wide receiver that's going to help your franchise quarterback, and that's T. Higgins.
Yeah, because you need to know, obviously, Bears fans and the organization is very excited with them, but you need, like you said, they need to find somebody that you can get a better gauge of, especially when you put a number one receiver in there. I'm interested to see what happens there. He's commanding, rumored to be commanding a ton of money, like top 5 wide receiver money. And I think he's really, really good. It wouldn't surprise me if the Bengals ponied up and overall, then the future of the Bengals, that might be a detriment to them money-wise. But wouldn't surprise me if they ponied up and paid the guys so they can keep these guys together. But I agree with you. If you're the Bears, you got to get aggressive. Any mock draft that has the Bears taking a defensive player or not trading the number one pick is a total waste of time to me. I laugh at with respect to any of these people. Obviously, doing a mock draft is a pain in the ass and it's impossible to predict. But you're starting yourself in the a little behind the 8 ball if you actually have the Bears drafting someone with that number one pick. So they are going to get a haul for it, and if they can get a bidding war going, and you've got. Whether or not Houston really needs to jump up to 2, maybe they want to stop the Colts from jumping up to 1 to keep them out of the division. You're absolutely right, because I think offensive line will be the number one priority to keep them safe as well, along with adding at the receiver room. And then as far as the Bears' success overall, their defense still has so many holes. It got a little bit better at the end of the second half of the season there. But so many holes. I think they'll be better, but I think it'll take a couple of years to really build out the entirety of the roster, because they've got a lot of holes. But they obviously have the draft capital and some spending money to fill a good majority of them. I still think they're going to have a few holes that are going to be glaring in some matchups this next year. But at the end of the day, they're on the right track for sure. And obviously, they should have 2. If not multiple legitimate, top 15 picks, and then maybe, if they get lucky with another future first-round pick or something like that, and, depth capital within the rest of the draft. They've obviously got, on their way. I'll give them 2 more years before they're a legitimate contender, though.
A few minutes. What's the temperature? What's the feel? What's your gut telling you in Packer camp?
I don't know. We still got to wait out this 4-day darkness retreat, which I think it was one of the Schwartz clapped on him as far as don't be be curious, not judgmental or something. So if that's what he needs, that's what he needs. Not my style of clearing my mind necessarily, but to each his own, I suppose. So I'd be shocked if he doesn't continue playing just in general. But as I've said to you, if the package is, too good to pass up, then absolutely go ahead. But I'm still 50-50 on whether or not I think it's actually going to happen. Some of these teams, might not want to pony up, 2, 3 first-round picks, whatever the heck it is. So I'll believe it when I see it when he's gone. But, I'm ready to move on for the most part here. And, unless you can convince me that he, has a bounce back in him, his thumb was the reason he was not as good this year, which I don't think is necessarily the case, then I'm ready to move on to Jordan Love. So the feeling is very neutral right now and, kind of tempering expectations on everything. So, if they make that move and then, here's Jordan Love, we'll keep the expectations low and love to be pleasantly surprised. They obviously got bad cap situations coming the next few years. I saw one easy fix would be to extend Rashawn Gary to kind of continue these jumping ropes with the cap and everyone says the cap isn't real. It is real to some degree, but there are a lot of hoops that you can jump through. So nothing crazy right now. I'm waiting for this 4-day darkness retreat to see what the heck happens, and then we'll go from there after that.
Odds, if I said starting quarterback for the Packers 2023 week 1 Aaron Rodgers minus 180. Are you taking the minus 180 or are you taking the plus 160 on Jordan Love?
I'd probably take the plus money on that one, honestly. I do think it's really almost 50-50 at this point. So minus 180, that one, last I saw, unless it was fake odds, I saw plus 200 or so that it would be that he'd be back with the Packers. So I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with that. As far as if it's if you're giving me plus 200 that he is coming back, then I'll take that side as well. But not laying any chalk with either of these guys. That's for sure.
All right, you said a good slate in college hoops tonight. Viewers and listeners here, I'm just looking at the board quickly here for 1 second. I mean, obviously the dandy of the night, and I know you're going to go through it, Alabama and Tennessee, and I'm looking at Ken Palm right now here. Let me just pull that one up for 1 second. La, la, la. Houston 1, Alabama 2, UCLA 3, Purdue 4, Tennessee 5. He's got UConn 6, so I don't know how he did that. He must be sleeping at the wheel, but that's for another year. He's got a Tennessee 71-69. I don't know if he's got him playing 6 halves or something because this Tennessee offense has been brutal of late. Currently, Alabama 2, Tennessee 5. Take it away, sir.
Yeah, this one, like you said, this is probably the best one of the night, and then number 2 with Xavier and Marquette as far as another awesome one around that same time. But, I mean, you know, we've talked about this Alabama team. They've won 4 in a row, hung 100 on Vanderbilt, won a couple on the road at LSU, at Auburn. Nice win at home, almost 30-point win against a scrappy Florida team. So, but like you said, this is a Tennessee team. Their offense has been all over the place. Their defense in the last game lost 85-86 to Missouri, who's obviously been all over the place. But, I mean, you said it, the 71-69 finish, and we're looking at a total of 146 and a half. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here. I'm this is all popcorn for me. I can't wait to watch this one. Yeah, I guess either it's pros versus Joes on this total, or they know something we don't, and Alabama's might hang 80 and Tennessee might hang 90. Who knows? I don't know. Are you feeling over on that one, or are you taking the value with entrusting KenPom and staying under?
Great question here. I'll give everyone the 3 numbers, not 1, not 2, but 3 numbers. Our numbers, courtesy of Spank Odds. Give him a look. He's a great guy. One of the professionals, true professionals in our lanes at Spank Odds, at Spanky Odds, I think it is on Twitter. 142 with a 3. Now, the corrected number is 146 across the market. Ken Palm's got it at 140, 71-69. And I'll go to Kenny White, who I just got this delivered to me right now. He's got it at 154. So it's all over the market. So good luck there.
Yeah, that's a hard stay away from me, but I guess I'll take a lob and say maybe this one goes to overtime and it finishes 92-91 or something like that. I don't know. But I'm excited to watch this one. I don't know. Are you leaning either which way on the side on this one, or do you think it's a coin flip?
I'm going to take the Vols. The Vols need to wake up. They've been playing like, excuse my French, like ass of late. I think they're one of the better teams in the country. Again, they're kind of offensively challenged in spots, but put them in front of some horses. And they've played great ball this year, even though they got us against Colorado early in the year. But they've played well against the iron. This Alabama team, listen, this Alabama team is going to be a pain in the side of you-know-what come March. They're destined. Listen, I know live and die by the 3, but these guys, they're never out of a game. How UConn beat them by 13 early in the year. If they would have played right now on a neutral court, I think Bama would be favored by at least 5. They probably beat them by double digits. So I don't like the number of 3. If I got a cheap money line on Tennessee, I'd be okay with it. I lean Vols, but I mean, I don't like the number -3 at all.
No, I agree with you. And they just lost on Saturday to Missouri. You could the peek ahead spot obviously there. So And meanwhile, Alabama took Auburn fairly seriously and ended up winning that game. So I'm with you. I would lean towards Tennessee, but I'll be grabbing my popcorn and watching that one on the couch tonight. So same time, so gonna have to be it's usually a multi-screen night with good college basketball slates, but same time, Xavier Marquette, 6 my time, 7 your time at Marquette at Fiserv. Marquette by 5.5 at home against a good Xavier team. 19-6 for Xavier, 20-6 for Marquette. Marquette's obviously been playing well. They lost to your UConn Huskies. A week ago yesterday. Bounced back over the weekend at Georgetown. Kind of ho-hum there. And Xavier loses at Butler over the weekend, I believe it was. Or I think that was Friday night. Tough loss there in Butler on Friday night. You are the Big East guy, my friend. Are you respecting the 5.5, or would you like to see that a little higher for Marquette at home?
No, I think that's a fair number. It's a good bounce back spot for them. They lost on January 15th to Sunday, 80-76. I had an overnight number of 6 down to 5.5 in both spots. Circa right now has it at a 6 with a 161. I think this will be the funnest game to watch of the night, up and down. If you like offense, come here. I'll go on record saying first one to 80, maybe 85 wins this game. I think it's a good spot for Marquette to get their revenge here. Again, I'm less leery of the 5.5 in this game than I am the 3 of the Tennessee game.
Yeah.
How's that?
No, I honestly completely agree with you. This, I mean, you look at this Xavier a few weeks ago at Creighton. They're 5.5-point dogs, lose by 17. Wouldn't surprise me if that's maybe not 17, but wouldn't surprise me if kind of another spot where they just not a good night for them there. So, and Marquette is obviously rolling along pretty well, especially at home there, as far as I know, 13-1 at home this year. So, I agree with you there for sure. What about, obviously, we haven't talked much about Florida State, rightfully so. They have been better than they opened, I think, but again, losing their faces off for the most part. Clemson has lost 3 in a row now, and now somehow finds themselves kind of on the bubble here, from what I understand. I think you could actually, if I was looking at it today, FanDuel gives you a handful of teams to make the tournament, to not make the tournament, and I believe this, I'll double check here, I believe this Clemson team is plus 134 to make the tournament. So they are very much on the bubble here, need this one. A loss would be very bad for them. They are 10-point favorites at home here. Would you like it to be more? I don't know. I haven't been betting a lot of these Florida State games by any means, but feel good that Clemson at least gets this win to keep this bad loss off the resume.
I would rather have this be in a football game. I think this would be a lot better if these guys just played a little spring football than this basketball game. A season Florida wants to forget. A season like Clemson, as usual, comes out guns a-blazing, get into the season, the ACC, crunch time, and they're nowhere to be found. I think the number is 10.5 for a reason. They're looking for Florida State money. I cringe when I would never, ever lay 10.5 with Clemson, but I think that they're going to get this one right, and they'll probably win by that 12, 13, 15-point spot, but not with my money. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole.
No, I'm with you, and they're 10-4 in conference. They've lost 3 in a row, obviously. I'm surprised they're on the bubble as much as they are. Obviously, the depth of the ACC isn't fantastic, and maybe I'm not looking through their wins exactly, but 18-7. I'm a little surprised that they're as much on the bubble here, and those odds to make the tournament are definitely a little concerning. Like I said, plus 134 to make the tournament for a team that's 4th place in conference right now. They've got Florida State tonight, Louisville, Syracuse, NC State, Virginia, and then Notre Dame to close it out. So they got to take care of those 3 or 4 teams below them. Otherwise, I could see them definitely falling out of the picture there.
I don't have Joe Lombardi's thing up there. I don't know if you have anything up there. Who's in, who's the last in, and who's the first 4 out. But, I mean, just off the top of my head, Virginia, North Carolina, Duke, who else out of the ACC?
Miami for sure.
Miami.
Clemson. He's got Clemson as the last 4 in right now.
Okay.
Miami. Let me pull it up here. Pitt is in there, and then I think Wake Forest would be the so Pitt, Virginia, Miami, Clemson, NC State, Duke, and then Wake Forest. I think would be the 7th. Or excuse me, not Wake Forest. UNC. So NC State and Miami and Pitt would be the teams that you didn't mention there.
So he's got 6 in right now in the ACC?
I think he's got 7 in there right now. 7 teams in there right now.
Okay, if he's got 7 in the ACC, I'm not trying to be biased here, but how many has he got from the Big East?
5.
Call him out.
For the Big East?
Yeah.
It would be Marquette, Xavier, Providence, Creighton, and UConn.
No Seton Hall, none of that, huh?
No. I think, let me see if they're on the, let's see. Seton Hall's one of the first, they're the next 4 out. So they are on the bubble there. But no St. John's.
I would match up the Big East versus the ACC every day and twice on Sunday, thank you. But that's just me. I mean, listen, I'm not knocking the ACC. Miami's had a phenomenal year.
Yeah.
Virginia's going to be a pain in the ass. North Carolina didn't turn it on until the ACC tournament last year.
Yeah.
And Duke is Duke. The other teams, they're just filling the brackets for all I say.
Yeah, no, I honestly, UNC, if their name wasn't UNC, he's got them as one of the first 4 out, along with Clemson. So, a bad night tonight and another UNC loss, and they're down to 5 for sure there. But UNC, if they don't get their stuff on track here, they could be on the outside looking in after being the preseason number 1, which I kind of agree with. They're just not that good. So I don't disagree with you at all. And obviously the bottom of the ACC stinks to high heaven. So, but yeah, Pitt, Virginia, Miami, and or at least those 3 teams I think are deserving. And then everyone else needs to get a little more scrutinized there.
Bigger flop of the year, UNC or Kentucky?
I would say I think UNC. I was thinking UNC was overrated in the first place, but I don't know. That's tough. I'll say UNC though. Kentucky, no matter what. I mean, they've had a couple of seasons where they're they're like the 8th or 9th seed, and then they finally turn it around. So there's still some of that in the back of my head, but they've both been disappointing. But I'll say UNC a little bit more.
Coach Cal on the hot seat?
I don't know about that. But unless they can find somebody better, I'll say no. But it's at least worth the conversation, I'd say.
Well, that's the whole thing. Everyone wants these coaches out, and I say, hey, listen, I get that part, and you can say what you want about Coach Cal. You can say it because it hasn't worked the last few years, but who are you going to get better? That's all I ask. Who are you going to get better? You're gonna bring Chris Beard in? Right. I mean, I don't know.
Right. No, it's 100. There's so many schools that are like that, football and basketball, where you got the pitchforks and torches, and then it's like, all right, well, I guarantee you'd prefer whatever in football 9-10 wins, or in this case, the 8th seed as opposed to 500 seasons and not being relevant on the national scale. So, as far as he's still obviously still recruiting well enough. So, I would not want any changes. Because like you said, who are you getting better? And I don't think there's a good answer there. So moving along, let's see. We don't need to talk about it. Virginia Tech, if they had a little bit better season, if they can go on a run, they can get themselves into the picture. They're at Georgia Tech, 7.5. Does that one seem a little fishy? Not or is that am I giving too much credit to Virginia Tech here?
The number was initially I thought was trying to entice us to Georgia Tech side. Georgia Tech at 205, Virginia Tech at 60. He's got it. Virginia Tech 74-67. I'll pull up the Tech resume right now. 15-5-9 in conference. It's been brutal. They have won 4 of their last 6 with losses at Miami and a home loss to BC, which was a killer. They play Pitt at home on Saturday, and then on Tuesday, Miami. So this is like a must-win of all must-wins here. And Georgia Tech, 2-13 in conference, 9-16. They've lost. Let's just say it has a 2-13 in conference, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They've lost 10 of their last 11. Their only win was Wednesday, February 8th to Notre Dame. The good news is they got Florida Tech on Saturday and 100% chance of winning. So I like Virginia Tech to get it going tonight. I think they win by double digits. I think the number's fair. I think it's a fair number.
Okay. I kind of agree with you there. Yeah, this Georgia Tech team is pretty damn ugly in most spots there. So I think I was honestly expecting it to be higher because of how low I think of Georgia Tech. But 15-10 Virginia Tech, obviously I kind of given them a little too much credit there. So like I said, must win for them. They need to go on a little bit of a run and can't lose these games if they want to get into that picture. So let's see. Moving on, there's some other good ones here. Let's see. Wading through these here. Goodness gracious. You mentioned it a second ago. Kentucky at Mississippi State. Mississippi State, I think, is another team that's in the last four in per the man Joe Lunardi there. So Mississippi State by 3, over under of 128.5. Kentucky coming off of losses to Arkansas at home and at Georgia this past weekend. Mississippi State winning a handful of games in a row here. I don't know what the streak is. At least the last 5. TCU at home at South Carolina, home for Mizzou and LSU, and then a nice win over the weekend at Arkansas. Kentucky obviously kind of controlling this rivalry or matchup for the most part these last handful of years here. But are you buying the dip in Kentucky, or are you taking the rolling train right now in Mississippi State?
17-8, 39th on KenPom. As you said, winners of 5 in a row. They got Ole Miss Saturday on the road, and then Missouri. Hats off, by the way, to Auburn last night. One of our pizza and beer losses on Saturday was Auburn against Alabama. I had them in the first half. We cashed there. But again, second half, Alabama just kept leaning on them. But I think first flash I saw last night, Auburn and Missouri was 19-2, if I'm not mistaken. So they took out an event there. I tell you what, I was surprised at this, I'll tell you, because Kentucky in this must-win situation, 7-5, 16-9 in conference play, 16-9 overall, 7-5 conference. 2 in a row they've lost at home to Arkansas, which Arkansas just blew them out of the gym in the second half. The game against Georgia, there was absolutely no excuses. They had a few pushes. They got to even. They got a short lead. Georgia came back. I liked Kentucky in this spot, and I was very curious. My number was Mississippi State -2, now 3. So I'm just going to say this. I would have respected a pick 'em. I would have respected a Kentucky -1. Vegas is making a hard stance here and saying, you want Kentucky? I'm not going to give you 2. I'm going to give you 3. Come on down. So I'd stay away.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And I've with Kentucky, Duke, UNC, teams that get inflated numbers because of who they are, I sometimes bet on the other side. Not going to do that tonight because, like you said, it should be a spot where they put their, draw a line in the sand to some degree. But this is a huge game for Mississippi State. The place is going to be rocking. Their atmosphere is going to be fantastic. Both these teams, I mentioned Mississippi State first 4 out, Kentucky's Mississippi State last 4 in, Kentucky first 4 out. So this is a big one. This is a huge game tonight. So moving on, let's see. Indiana Northwestern in the Big Ten. Is that the only Big Ten game tonight, I think? Let's see. Indiana Northwestern, 2.5. Yeah, Indiana at Northwestern. Indiana -2.5 on the road here. 134.5 on the total there. So you've got a hot Indiana team, obviously. Northwestern kind of sneakily one of the lower ranked teams in the Big Ten. 3 in a row at Wisconsin, huge win. At Ohio State, huge win. And then the biggest win of the year for them, home for Purdue over the weekend there on, I think that was Sunday. Northwestern's actually won 3 of the last 4 in this rivalry. So, as much as I've had a lot of action on Indiana lately, I'm going to back off of this one. But also Northwestern coming off of the huge win against Purdue, I'm also going to back off of. So, I'll lean towards Indiana almost, but would not surprise me if, Northwestern has been really tricky at home. So, don't want to back Northwestern after definitely a letdown spot, but I would have felt better about Indiana minus 3.5 or 4 if I was taking Indiana.
Smart, because the public's thinking the same thing you are. Yes, Northwestern 3 in a row. Just beat number 1 Purdue. Go back to January 8th in Bloomington. They beat Indiana 84-83. Okay. Our overnight numbers was a pick 'em. Now it's 2.5, 3 Indiana. Revenge spot, letdown spot. I get all that, guys. And I don't think you're crazy to think that. Which side do I lean? I lean Indiana. Yes, I do. But trust and respect the opening number, guys. It wasn't 2.5, 3 when this opened. It was a pick 'em. They had it at a pick 'em for a reason. You want to know why? I'll tell you why. They wanted Indiana money. That's what they wanted, and that's what they got. So as much as I like Indiana, bounce back, let down, revenge, check all the boxes. The public is just eating it. This is a huge public game. I'm just going to grab my pom-poms, my popcorn, maybe some Cracker Jacks, a little Mountain Dew or Moxie or whatever. But we're just going to watch this one.
Yeah, and as far as the angle of the Northwestern having a huge win against Purdue, obviously one of the bigger wins of the Big Ten Conference, as much as Michigan's probably not even going to be a tournament team, but Indiana going into Michigan in that atmosphere was honestly kind of a big win, kind of an emotional win for him to some degree. So I wouldn't even, if you talked me into Indiana being in a letdown spot after that, and, they beat Purdue, beat Rutgers, then at Michigan, and now they've got Illinois in Indiana this upcoming weekend. So, I'm with you. I'm grabbing my popcorn. Excited for, Indiana's can coast, and they've got a spot in the tournament. Northwestern right now is 7 seed, so as long as they aren't collapsing, they should definitely be in. And I'm, obviously a team that has only been there. I know it's either once or twice. I can't remember if they got a second time or not, but either way, credit to them and being able to get through the weeds of this Big Ten season, because they, not a lot of people believed in them in preseason. So wish I would have been as high on them as I was their football team, obviously, this year. But you know what? I'll take what I can get. I've had a few winners with them this year. So moving off of that one, Big 12, maybe the third best game as far as top 25 teams of the night. TCU at Iowa State. 5 in some spots, 5.5 in others. I actually still see a 4.5 up there. I believe this one opened at 4, Iowa State by 4. Now moving up, like I said, 5, 5.5. These two teams, TCU, obviously, after a huge start to Big 12 play, they've lost 4 of their last 5. One of those was to Mississippi State. So they've lost their last 3 games in conference at Oklahoma State, at Kansas State, and then home for Baylor. Obviously, we're without their leading scorer for at least a couple of those games, though. And Iowa State not playing very well either. They get the huge win against Kansas and then drop at West Virginia and home for Oklahoma State. So I guess I'll lean. I would have felt better about the -4, so not jumping in at this point. I'll lean towards Iowa State, but their offense at times is just so tough to watch, and it would not surprise me if TCU is able to have a couple runs themselves and keep this one closer or even win this game. So I'll lean towards Iowa State, but nothing really would surprise me at this one here.
As we were breaking down some of the earlier games, it did come across Mike Miles, the guard for TCU, doubtful. So he's basically going to be not playing. So the line, as we've been talking, has gone to 5, 5.5. Right now it's circa 5.5 with a 134.5. There, Iowa State 17, TCU 22. As we put up here, 7-5 in conference, 16-8. Losers of 4 of the last 5 at Missouri, at Texas Tech in overtime. They beat Kansas at home. They lost at West Virginia, and they just lost to Okie State. Kind of a big game here for Iowa State. And 6-6 in league play, 17-8 overall. Losers of 4 of the last 5 at Mississippi State. They beat West Virginia at home. Then on the road, they lose to Okie State, Kansas State. They just lost to Baylor by 4. A big spot for them. I'm going to go on record right here. I think Iowa State will find a way to win this game. I know because of the injury to TCU, the line's inflated. I'd buy the hook and take TCU up to 6. I think this is going to be both teams kind of must-win situations. I think it's going to be a battle. It's at a 134. I'll go 68-66 final. I even could sprinkle a little something on TCU stealing the win here. I lean them. If Miles was playing, I think it would be a big difference. I'm not buying the cheese, though. I'm going to take the sense of urgency on TCU a little further, and I think they play a hell of a game tonight.
Yeah, and they had some close calls even during some of these losses, even without Miles. So, and like I said, if you're telling me Iowa State's gonna struggle to crack 60, I'm definitely interested in talking about the other side because as good as their defense can be, their offense can be absolutely terrible. One of the worst, as far as these top teams, one of the worst offenses in out of the top 25, 30 teams, whatever it is. So. I can't remember if that's the only Big 12 game tonight or not. Next one up, Arkansas, Texas A&M. Go ahead.
Riley. The January 7th, Iowa State went into TCU and beat them 69-67. So, again, another little nugget from a revenge spot as well. And looking at these TCU losses, by 2 to Iowa State, by 4 to Texas, they lost by 9 to West Virginia. They lose in OT to Mississippi State. They lose by 6 to Okie State. They get blown out by K-State, and they just lost by 4 to Baylor. They're pesky. They hang around. And, again, if you're going to give me 6 points in a revenge spot in a sense of urgency, I lean TCU tonight.
I'm almost interested in their team total, 64.5 to go over, because this is another one. Iowa State, for me, is the team we talk about as far as this total is 134.5. Their last game over the weekend, home against Oklahoma State, 127.5 was the total, and it stays under. Now you're giving me 134.5. Higher scoring team in TCU, obviously, but without their leading scorer. So I'll lean over on the game total, and I'm interested a little bit in TCU getting over 64.5 there. How about that?
I'll be rooting.
I don't know if I'll take it, but that's definitely where I'm. If I had to go anywhere, I'm leaning. So, Arkansas, Texas A&M, next one up. 2 teams, 17-8 for Arkansas, 18-7 for A&M. A&M, another one of these teams that's kind of one of the quieter, teams in the nation that's playing pretty damn well. 10 seed per Lunardi right now, so they've played themselves well into March at this point here. I shouldn't say well into March. They need to take care of some business here. Arkansas, 9 seed per Lunardi. But Texas A&M, one of the hotter teams in the SEC right now. 4 of their last 5 wins. The one loss at Arkansas, 70-81. The next 3 wins, home for Georgia, home for Auburn, at LSU. So not any monstrous wins, Alabama or Tennessee over that last stretch, but -3.5 at home here. Are you respecting the bounce back spot for them and to keep it rolling, or are you thinking Arkansas is a little dangerous here?
Well, the numbers are heating up like a Christmas tree here. A&M Obeski is questionable with hand. As we talked, the total on Chris is up to 139.5. So the total's going to bounce. If you're going to bet this game and bet the over, you better run to the window as we speak. It's 137.5 at Circa. It's about to go to 138.5, maybe 139 in some spots. So if you want the over in this game, get it now. My overnight number was 1.5.
Okay.
It's inflated to 3.5 and 4. Revenge spot for A&M, as you said. They put together a hell of a run, 10-2 in conference play, only 2 losses at Kentucky, at Arkansas, 18-7 overall. Let me pull up Arkansas here. And a shout out and good afternoon to Mr. PB himself. Arkansas 6-6 conference play, 17-8. Lost over the weekend to Mississippi State. Had won 3 in a row against A&M, South Carolina, and Kentucky. Lost to Baylor at Baylor. Beat LSU, Mississippi, and had 4 losses in a row, or 5 out of 6 to start. Kind of rounding into form. Actually, hold 1 second. Rounding into form. I think the number, again, guys, here's what you got to say. The overnight number was 1.5. If you like A&M, which I'm saying, revenge spot, I don't have a problem with that play. You're betting into an inflated number. It's 4 now, okay? 1.5 / money line, no problem. Now you're getting 4. Could be a 6-point game and a 3-pointer at the buzzer or whatever. So I would lean Arkansas plus the 4.5. But if you got in early with A&M minus 1.5, or obviously money line, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, no, I like the way you went with that. I completely agree. Arkansas is, you're kind of at that spot where you're nervous about them not only just rounding into form and be a team that can win these types of games, but being a true dark horse going into the SEC tournament. Shout out, I mean, I don't know if it deserves a shout out. They kind of got lucky this year. They haven't played Bama or Tennessee yet, so haven't been able to have those resume builders, but they've taken care of everyone else for the most part. They only have to play each of those 2 teams once, so if they can, if they knock one of those 2 teams off, then they're in good shape. But as long as they can win a lot of these games coming up here, they'll be just fine. A&M there. So this is another good one, though. Again, I think both these teams will be in the tournament at the end of the day, but the loser of this one, and if they go on a little bit of a spiral, they're definitely in danger of missing out on things. So let's see here. Anything else? There's a late Pac-12 game. Oregon at Washington. Both those teams have been kind of disappointing lately for the most part here. Oregon playing a little bit better, I guess, but Washington losers their last 4 games. I don't know. I admittedly, just the Pac-12, especially the deeper Pac-12, I have not been paying attention to. So does this feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, this is kind of a blind shot. Is this a statement line for Oregon on the road here, 5.5, or is that, would you respect it if it was higher?
The actual number was 4, so the public's having fun with it up to 5.5. And thought it was a Washington number. Let me look at something here. 43rd Oregon, 106 Washington. Ken Palm's got it 73-70. Wash now has 2 big wins at home in conference. They did beat Arizona State in overtime. Actually, and then they beat Cal, which is nothing, obviously. There was one other one we had them. They beat Colorado at home to start. They've lost 5 of the last 6. Utah, they beat Arizona State. Then they've lost to Arizona, UCLA, USC, Washington State. Oregon, on the other hand, let's see something there. 19-13. Oregon is 15, and this is the time they usually shine. Very quietly, 9-6 now in conference play, 15-11. Again, a nice win here gets them to 10-6 in conference play, 16-11. They're coming off the UCLA loss by 7 at home. Prior to that, beat USC, Arizona State, lost by 15 to Arizona, beat Utah, beat Colorado, lost to Stanford. So I think it's a bounce back spot. I'm gonna try to get cute here. I think Oregon wins and doesn't cover. I'll take by the hook. I'll take Washington plus the 6 and pray. Shout out to Kiefer. Afternoon, fellas. Heading back to the beginning of the show to talk some Alabama, Tennessee talk. Yes, Vols find a way, brother. Vols find a way.
Now, it's interesting as far as the bracketology talk. Lunardi's only got 2 teams out of the top 2 teams. Only 2 teams coming out of the Pac-12. 4 of the first 8 teams on the outside looking in are in the Pac-12. Oregon being one of them. Oregon, USC, Arizona State, and Utah. All 4 of those teams currently on the outside looking in. So could be another slim year for the Pac-12, but 2 teams that obviously UCLA and Arizona that could go on a run at the end of the day. So go ahead.
4:32, February 15th. Anyone watching and listening? Okay, I know it's only 10, 12 to 1, okay? We work on building a portfolio. You're not going to get a better number. Go grab some UCLA money right now. They got the team right now to get to the Final Four. They got the team to get to the championship game. They got the team to cut the nets down. Now, did I say they will? I didn't say that. This year alone is probably, I can't remember a year where this, I said it yesterday on one of the shows. There's 15 teams that can cut the nets down. Okay. Yeah. I'm still bullish on Houston. I am. I think they're a hell of a team. I think they're going to be trouble. I love this UCLA team. And Joe Lunardi not giving the Pac-12 enough respect because there's some teams there, the USCs of the world, and a couple others here that could win a game or two. The Pac-12 is always getting slighted. They really are.
I know.
And I don't think enough people watch them. And there's always one of those Pac-12 teams that gets through the first weekend, and somehow, some way, they're playing in the Elite Eight. So, Joe, open up your eyes, okay? Maybe you're a little ACC bias right now, okay? This Big East with 5. Are you shitting me? I'll take on the ACC. I'll have the Pac-12 take on the ACC right now. Stop it.
I'm with you. Not even just these top 2 teams. Like you said, you even take the top off of it with there's whatever 1 or 2 studs teams that they have. There's always 2 or 3 teams that you don't expect to go on a run that they do, and I'm with you. I almost want to take a couple of these teams to make the Final Four, let alone like you said. I like your thought with UCLA there, but one of these. There's going to be a Pac-12 team in the Final Four. You're going more aggressive with the UCLA. And maybe this, 2 teams as compared to all these other power conference teams. I mean, you talk about, how much love. You obviously said the ACC. My Big Ten obviously gets a ton of love in the middle of the season, and then come tournament time, we're the ones that look like the conference that's overrated, and then the Pac-12 is got 3 teams, like you said, in the Elite Eight and 1 or 2 in the Final Four. So. I'm with you. I like I said, I am one of those people that don't usually watch enough of it. But then, we've gotten to a point where in the tournament, you realize, holy shit, we've all been underestimating the Pac-12, and now they're this 9 seeds in the Elite Eight, this 11 seeds in the Sweet 16. So I would not be shocked to see it happening again, my friend.
I agree. This is the year.
All right. Anything else in college basketball that you mentioned or that you wanted to mention? I know there's, like I said, that's the latest game. There's a couple other late games, and then a handful of mid-major games. If you got anything to mention,
I'm going to go local in one game. Because this team asked, we had an over on Saturday with Bryant. They're hosting UMass Lowell tonight, and everyone's scratching their talking about here. I just wanted to pull that one up, and then I'm going to give you the center state one more because I had to talk about them. But let me just bring this one up for 1 second here. All right, Bryant right now is 181. UMass Lowell is 160. Ken Pond 180. On Saturday, they laid an egg and only scored 73 against UMBC. They lost to UMass Lowell on January 22nd, 98-79. My overnight number was 2.5. It's at a 3, guys. I don't like the number. I'm just telling you, I think Bryant gets it done today. They beat UMass Lowell. If you're playing a couple teams in a parlay, want to use them in the money line, please do. If you can find it 2.5, that's fine. It's going to be a close game, but I like Bryant to win that game there. And I had to give you the stage. This is a great game. Opened up a pick'em. It's 1. Give me a little talk about Murray State and Illinois State tonight, huh?
10-17 Redbirds, a home favorite here, apparently, here to 13-13 Murray State. So not the typical Murray State, but people pull that up, I imagine, and still see a Murray State up against a stinking Redbirds team right now. So 3 losses in a row for Murray State. Illinois State has been also 3 losses in a row, but a couple nice wins before that, and played at Valpo pretty close. So if you could talk me into the Redbirds, I definitely was surprised to see. I honestly I don't look as closely as I used to at Illinois State games, but seeing them as a home favorite is definitely pretty interesting, especially home for Bradley. You and I talked about a week or so, I think exactly a week ago, 8.5-point dogs at home. Home for Southern Illinois, they ended up winning as a 5-point dog. So starting to get a little respect, and maybe can put together a nice late season run and be Cinderella in the old Arch Madness tournament. Because I think they've got like a 24-year drought to the NCAA tournament. Their best chances were when I was there and had 2 or 3 losses in the conference tournament. But it would be a little annoying if this was the team to do it, as much as I would love to see him do it, because there were some legitimately good teams while I was there that didn't make the dance. But hey, who knows? Anything can happen in Arch Madness.
I just looked at it, and the fact that they were favored caught my eye. This Murray State team, wow, what a clunker they've had. Illinois State 10-17. Ken Palm's got them winning 71-70. I give Murray State team out. Their last 3 losses at Indiana State by 43. Then they lose by 24 at home versus Drake. And then they just lose by 4. Something's going on here. And I don't know if they're trying to get the coach fired. You cannot go and lose by 44, 24, and 45. 35, excuse me. Something smells here. Maybe they're setting it up for this game, and they're going to bring bags, and they're going to show that, or they're getting the coach fired. So, but it was kind of shocking to see you favored. That's all.
I agree. I'm glad we could mention it, and hopefully it's a fun night for us here tonight.
But that was it in college, brother.
All righty, we can go through the NBA real quick. Let's see. Starting off the night, a couple games at 6 my time, 7 your time. My Bulls not looking too hot right now. 26-31 at Indiana, also not looking too hot right now. 2 of the colder teams in the East right now, honestly. After the Bulls start to put it together, they fall back on their face, as is all of my teams, all 3 straight seasons, White Sox, Packers, and Bulls, kind of doing the exact same run through the season, kind of looking like they're alive, and then they collapse for 3-4 games, then they hit rock bottom, and then they bounce back. So not sure if this is that rock bottom or not, but like I said, Bulls have lost 4 in a row, Pacers have lost 5 in a row. Bulls at least 4-6 their last 10. Pacers 1-9 their last 10. So to see the Pacers favored definitely had me a little concerned. I would have loved to see the Bulls favored here on the road against this team that's probably the coldest team in the NBA, aside from maybe the 3 or 4 tanking teams there. So would have loved to see the Bulls closer to a pick'em. So I am a little nervous, but if you can give me some optimism, that'd be fantastic. I do believe DeRozan is out for the Bulls tonight. Yep, he's out. And then a little bit of depth questionable. So, if that's the reason, that's the reason. But almost needing either a huge performance from Levine or, continued solid play from Vooch, who's actually been the one player who's been playing really nice. So I am officially concerned, but would not surprise me if the Bulls won by 20 either. So who knows?
I had a 230 and a hook with a 1.5 Indiana favored. Now 2.5 and 230.5 at Circa. I'm usually pretty good market wise with the Bulls pace. I'll slight lean Bulls number with the 1.5. Publix pushed it to 2.5 with DeRozan out, obviously. I think you can get the job done tonight. I would lean your Bulls. How's that?
I like it. I'm not running to the window, but like I said, wouldn't it surprise me if they were fine with what they've got tonight. And this Indiana team's been pretty damn bad, so offensively and defensively. So if that continues, that would not surprise me at all. The return of Halliburton didn't turn their tides from when they lost him. So they are quickly falling out of the picture there, Indiana. So on to the next one. Spurs and Charlotte. Charlotte -7, 16-43 up against 14-44. I don't think the Hornets deserve to be favored like that against anybody, but this Spurs team is obviously a little bit worse than this Hornets team. So feels like a statement, but I am not putting my money down on the Hornets tonight.
I had a 5 with the 241, now 243 with the 7. For me, it's, you can say Charlotte favored over anyone. God bless America here. But again, for me, it would be the Spurs or nothing, and it would be the over or nothing. And for me, it's nothing because I wouldn't touch it with your money.
Yeah, you've got to be you've really got to feel confident about an angle to be jumping into this game tonight, and it sounds like neither of us have that type of confidence here. So I agree with you. Yeah, another one that I'm staying far away from there. What's going on with this one was closed for a second here. Cleveland and Philly on ESPN tonight, 6:30 my time, 7 your time. I'm seeing a little bit differing here. Philly favored by 1 in certain spots. Cleveland favored by 1 in certain spots here. So a little bit all over the place on the spread with this one, who's favored or not. And as far as the injury report is concerned, Embiid, last I checked, was questionable. So if that's why we're flipping all over the place, then you can tell me if there's something new going on there. But Cleveland's winning a bunch in a row right now. I'll go ahead and lean towards the Sixers in this game. Cleveland got them in Cleveland earlier in the year. Would like the Sixers to be favored a little bit more. Going towards underdogs is a little concerning to me, but I'll say Philly. But if you disagree with me, and I'm missing something, please feel free to disagree.
Now, I had an overnight number of 2.5. Philly, my favorite, with a 216.5. Circa with a pick at 216. I'm going to just say that the reason the number's that it is, I don't think Embiid's going to play. I think the number's baked that way. Now, I'm going to play devil's advocate, people. So don't come DMing me. Don't at me. Here's what I'm going to say very simply. And you're going to say, Jeff, you're smoking crack. No, I'm not. But just trust me on this. If Embiid plays, take the Cavaliers. If Embiid is out, which I think he's going to be out, take the Sixers. Just trust me on that. That's all. We've had a lot of conversations about injuries. I'm not disagreeing with you at all there. So, going to be interesting to see what the situation, if he's playing or not there. But I do not disagree with you at all. They've got, Philly plays at home against Memphis tomorrow night. So, maybe saving Embiid for the second night of a back-to-back as opposed to the first night. And the Cavs also playing in at home against Denver. So, maybe they'll take this one seriously or try to take it seriously and then sit some guys tomorrow. Who knows? Miami and Brooklyn. Brooklyn actually -1 at home here since the trade. They have they beat my Bulls and then have lost 2 in a row here. So, looks like Tyler Hero, I don't know what his status is. He might not be in for tonight. Miami lost their last one here. So this one is interested to see that the Nets are favored here despite everything that's going on there. So I guess I'll lean towards the Nets in this spot here. How about that? Well, Hero, Lowry, Oladipo, all doubtful. So, again, I got a few locals last night. They thought they were so cute and coy. The Celtics started, they sat almost their whole starting staff last night in Milwaukee, 9.5-point underdogs. And I got one of my good buddies who's a season ticket holder, says that number stinks to high heaven. I love the Celtics. I says, well, listen. The number does stink to high heaven. They're begging for Bucks money. They don't know how to do it. No one's starting for the Celtics. Of course, goes to overtime. The Celtics lose by 6 and they cover. Again here, the NBA. Don't forget, guys, also, the All-Star break is coming. So how do you get an extended little vacation as you sit the next couple games, a la Jason Tatum? Non-COVID situation. And I know his son's birthday's already passed, so he doesn't need 2 weeks off for that. So my point is just be careful here. Half of the Miami team sitting yet. Brooklyn's only 1-point favorites. If you run to the window in the NBA chasing these injuries, you're going to go broke.
Yeah.
You are going to go, you're better off just giving the money to the teller and tell him to just grab a number out of a hat, because you cannot chase who's in, who's out, who's playing, who's not playing. You're going to go broke.
Right. And we had some early success taking like the stuff that you said that doesn't make sense, starting to, kind of being a little 50-50 now these days with these types of injuries. So like you said, it's impossible to predict. There's early in the season, you can take the opposite and what doesn't make any sense at all. And you would have had some success this year, but no, I'm with you. It is a tricky situation for sure. Knicks in Atlanta is the next one up. Atlanta 3.5. I believe I saw quite a bit of people on the Knicks in this one here tonight. On the spread for the Knicks, 32-27 Knicks, 29-29 Atlanta Hawks. They are obviously kind of Jekyll and Hyde team. So against the hot Knicks team for the most part here, I'll lean towards the Hawks in this one, but wouldn't surprise me if that number is honestly spot on. It comes down to the end here for this one.
Knicks have been playing better, haven't they?
Oh, yeah. They, at least 4 of their last 5, they won. That's for sure.
Let me see something. I don't even, I can't even say it's an Atlanta number. I mean, I had 3 with a 232.5, now 233.5. I got Robinson doubtful, Collins questionable, Hunter probable. I like the over in the game. There you go. I like the over in the game. 230.
You like the over. I do like the Hawks, but I'm the 3 makes me nervous, and I don't want to pay minus 155, 160, whatever it is. I'll go on record saying the Hawks win, and maybe it's because they score 140 points. Who the hell knows?
There you go.
Your Celtics at home against the Pistons, 12.5. The Pistons with some single-digit spreads have kind of been the go spots there. So this one, I would say, is kind of a toss-up. You would expect, despite some of the injuries that you got going on, I guess you would expect the Celtics to put the hurt on them, but nothing would surprise me with this Pistons team. They just played a close game with Toronto last time out, beat San Antonio before that, and were losing their faces off before that. So I will be staying far away from this one.
Well, it's funny because the return of Marcus Smart, Robert Williams is now questionable. Derek White is probable. Jason Tatum probable, and Jaylen Brown doubtful. Jaylen will be out till after the All-Star break. An overnight number of 9. Did see it as around a 7.5 because all these guys were probably going to sit out again. Now they're all playing. It's an inflated number of 12. I not too long ago, Detroit came in 12-point dogs and won and beat us outright. Now, I don't know if I'm confusing it to this year or it might have been last year right around this time. It was about the same time, same spot. If you had the Celtics last night and you won, treat yourself to a nice dinner. It was Valentine's Day. If you didn't take your wife or your girlfriend out on Valentine's Day, do it tonight on the Celtics. Don't touch this with a 10-foot pole. Do not.
Yeah. No, I think it was last year. This is actually the 4th matchup between these two. The Celtics have won all 3. On the spread, it's come down to it pretty close on each of the last 2. So maybe if you got the right number, you cover with the Pistons. But this Pistons team every once in a while they're alive enough to catch somebody. So I've stayed away from them for a while. I had some early success in certain spots against good teams when it's a single-digit number, but they are all over the place. They are deep in the tankathon sweepstakes these days. So I will leave that one on the desk for sure. Let's see. Dallas and Denver. We can skip over a couple. Dallas and Denver. Denver minus 4.5 at home. I believe I saw Kyrie's probable, I guess. I thought I saw something that he might not play, but I guess I'm wrong there. Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, questionable for Denver there. Kyrie and the Mavericks, since they started playing together, they got the win against Sacramento, then lost at Sacramento in a follow-up and lost the other day to Minnesota. Defensively, still not getting it done. Their offense has looked all right, and they've stayed in these games lately. since they made for the trade for Kyrie, but their defense still kind of struggling here. So I'll say Denver gets the win, but wouldn't surprise me if this one's close. Would like the total to be a little bit higher there, considering what I'm talking about there. Seems a little bit of a bait spot there for the over. So I would say it probably stays under, but I'll stay away from it altogether. I just don't trust this Dallas defense still right now.
Is this a TNT game?
No, it is not.
Okay. That's tomorrow. To me, I had 5.5 with a 231.5. It's down to 4.5. I personally think this is a Dallas number. I think both Kyrie and Luka probably will play today. I just think it's a Dallas number. Those two together will be dangerous. Now, whether it's second half after the break, whether it's wait till the playoffs, you take one day off, I'll take the next day off. I don't know how they're going to put this together. I still think Denver's the best team in the West. I know Phoenix added KD. God bless them. Good luck with Chris Paul and his hammy and his State Farm commercials there. But I think it's a Dallas number. I would buy the hook, take them up to 5. I'd sprinkle a little something on the pizza and beer money on the money line. I don't know. It just smells to me. That's all.
Fair enough. I can't deny it for sure. I mean, a team that makes that type of trade, and now you got Luka playing, takes a second to get him felt out a little bit there. So I typically stay away from those situations altogether. Pelicans in LA. Pelicans at the Lakers. LeBron questionable. Anthony Davis probable. I see right here. CJ McCollum questionable for the Pelicans. A little bit of a revenge spot for the Lakers. Pelicans just got him a week and a half or so ago on February 4th. Pelicans playing pretty good ball right now. Lakers not playing very well, so probably a little bit flated with if LeBron and Anthony Davis are both playing. So I will stay away from the Pelicans. Wouldn't surprise me if they kept this one close, but probably a revenge spot here for the Lakers.
Yeah, I had a 4 with a 234.5. Now it's circa 234.5. It is now up to 5. I read the same thing you did. LeBron, AD in. Kind of surprising with AD here with the All-Star break coming. You don't shut him down for a few more games. It is what it is. And by the way, we moved that Charlotte number down to 5.5, by the way, against the Spurs. So they do listen, people. They do listen.
Terry Rozier downgraded to doubtful. That might be why.
All right, there you go. So I'm just telling you, they will listen. Terry, thanks for taking it off. Grab the 7 while you were deciding. So I think it's a Laker number. 234.5. Now 235. I think everyone will be on the over. Will probably tip down under. And listen, guys, Zion Williamson is a freak of nature. He is someone in college that you stopped and you made sure you saw the Duke games. You watched him in layup lines. He's fun. Came into the NBA on draft day. I compared him to someone that I didn't want to compare him to, and obviously never wished him any bad luck. I believe in karma. But I compared him to Greg Oden. I just thought his body would break down like Greg Oden's did. And listen, he came back this year lighter than ever, ready. And this team was number 1 in the West. And then he gets hurt. Then he's ready to come back. Then he gets hurt again. And now he re-aggravates the hammy again. So, I don't know what to say. If this team is clicking on all cylinders, cooking with Crisco, they can beat anyone in the West. The problem is they're never going to get that Zion team together, being able to play, especially in 7-game series, playing every other day. The kid's just not going to be able to do it there. So, again, I think it's a Laker number. I think it stays under. But I just wish the kid would figure it out. That's all.
Yeah. No, me too. He's one of my favorite players in the league to watch. But obviously availability is key, and that's obviously not been happening. So, interested to see what happens with the NBA. You and I didn't talk much about trade deadline. My Bulls do absolutely nothing. Now we're in the buyout market, which is going to be interesting. And we've now 3 games in the loss column on the outside of the play-in tournament. So going to be an interesting next couple of months in the NBA, and then it'll heat up here going forward. And that now, to finish it up, the Bucks looking fantastic now with Middleton back. They look like the same team that went to the finals. So if they can stay healthy, they are as big of a threat as they've ever been right now. As well as your Celtics there. So the East is going to be interesting, and the West is going to be interesting too. I'll still stand pretty firm that the East is going to have the champion, but the East will at least have some dogfights in the playoffs for sure. There.
Strictly numbers. Now, at preseason, August, September, we gave out Bucks Eastern Conference champs, Bucks NBA champs. Strictly reading the numbers. The Celtics are, by the numbers, going to win the NBA championship. Now, it pains me to say it because I'm not the duck boat and parade leader here. I'm just saying strictly by the numbers. They're like plus 350, and the next closest is like the Bucks at 650. And I know, and you know, and everyone else here know they're not 3-1 favorites against the Bucks. So it smells to high heaven. I like Bucks added Crowder too, right, in the trade deadline.
I believe that sounds right. Yeah.
I think, someone with a resume, someone that has been in these stretches in the playoffs, has played in big games, a seasoned veteran, big bodied that can shoot the three. It's a good addition, again, especially if Middleton is healthy. That was what they were lacking last year, hence why the Celtics beat them in 7. So.
Yeah, around those top 3, if they can get, even if Crowder's a bust, if you could get 2 or 3 guys, Crowder, Connaughton, Bobby Portis hitting shots at the right time, that makes them all the more dangerous. So right now, I'm seeing 270 for the Celtics, 410 plus 410 for the Bucks.
So 140, 270, 410. 140. I mean, right now that I remember last year, I think the Celtics were minus 180 against the Bucks, or minus 220. It was something stupid, and then they were like 190 against Miami or something stupid. So they're just heavily inflated, and the number's not, unless someone gets hurt, that number's not going anywhere, guys. So
right,
it is what it is there. So
that's all I've got for NBA, my friend.
Well, I gotta bring this up just for shits and giggles. Tonight at 7:07, rotation number 29 and 30, the Chicago Blackhawks travel to Toronto, and at Circa, Toronto is minus 550, and the Blackhawks are plus 460. Let me repeat that again. At Circa right now, you can go down and put $100 on the Blackhawks, and if you win, you get your $100 back plus $460. That will get you a lot of lap dances, a handful of lap dances at the Spearmint Rhino. So, but here's the funny thing too. Team totals. I was looking at this too. Toronto's team total was 4.5, juiced under minus 135. It was minus 170. Now it's 135. So if you think they get to five, you can get them plus 115. But here's the shocker of all shockers. Ready, Riley?
I am ready.
Blackhawks team total 1.5, juiced over minus 180. So they're saying you're going to get to 2 at least tonight, but it's going to cost you almost 2-1 to get.
And a plus 2.5 on the puck line, minus almost even money right there is the other. Yeah. It's ugly days. It's ugly days, but we're the tankathon is in full effect. So I see minus 600 in a couple of spots here on the Maple Leafs. That is about as crazy as I've ever seen. And obviously, I don't follow hockey as much as everything else. But I remember going back to baseball season, the minus 400 or higher teams. The win-loss record wasn't too much better than 500, if I remember correctly.
Correct. And
So.
You're right on the 600, by the way. At DraftKings, minus 600. At Winco, minus 625. At Bovada, minus 600. So it's crazy out there. And the funny thing is this, guys. It's 60 minutes of one game. One hockey game out of 80. I think there is 80. So anything can happen. I mean, that's pizza beer money and a half right there. Lay $10, come back with 46 plus your 10. I mean, what do you got to look? Listen, I'm trying to figure this one out because I was looking at that Toronto team total. I'm like, can they get to 5? Can they get to 5? The Vegas is telling me right now 4-2, and the under over is 6.5 juice under. So Vegas is telling me 4-2 here is the final. So but I like the plus 115 to get to 5, but I didn't pull the trigger yet.
No, yeah, and we're in the tankathon for Mr. Bedard, and we're I think second to last right now. So need the losses to roll in. This would be this would hurt the tankathon. So I'm not laying the minus 600 by any means, but I won't hold my breath for the Blackhawks to win, but also might lay down a few cents on the plus 400 or whatever the heck it is. So, if you see me jumping for joy at about 10 o'clock tonight, you know why.
And shout out to my man Eddie Gillis from Rhode Island. If you're getting ready, we're right around a month to Vegas. Hope to see you in Vegas for some NFBC. We were just talking about your Maple Leafs, and you're supposed to have a slam dunk tonight, so good luck there. And listen, if you don't have a Toronto future by now, I know everyone's like it's just throwing money into the wind. Someone brought this up. It's amazing. If you got a book that can get creative, they always lose in the first round and they always lose in 7 games. So once the playoffs start, if your series, you can go 7 games with a Toronto loss or just 7 games, you're going to back it up that way. But I strongly feel sooner or later they're going to win a first-round battle. Last year they lost to the Lightning in 7. Yeah. So, again, if they get through the first round, they're going to be so damn dangerous, I am telling you, because the whole world's going to be up their shoulder. Now they're playing with house money. And, Eddie, I think this could be the year. I know we've been saying that for a while, but I like their prices there. So keep an eye on the Leafs. A game that stands out again, Minnesota playing tonight against Colorado. Colorado played last night against Vegas. I had an overnight number of Minnesota minus 140. It's down to 126. I do lean the Wild here, but I was trying to get into it on the plus side. You can get Minnesota team total over 3.5. You can get it plus 140. I like the plus 140 there. Keep an eye on that one. If you wanted to lay the 120 or 125 on them just to win 5, but I'm looking for plus money here. Like, again, the Leafs. Team total over 4.5 plus 115. That's gone down about 35 cents. They heard me earlier today there. That's it from there. Any closing thoughts, sir?
Closing thoughts. Stay tuned the next couple of hours. I'll have my PGA blog out into the Twitter sphere and out on the ECSI website. Got a few picks for the weekend. Need to bounce back after this last one, but got my picks in the chamber. Just need to get the words down on the paper. So that will be out here in the next couple of hours here for tea time starting tomorrow morning, my friend. Other than that, I've got nothing else.
I think what we're going to have to do, we're going to get you a membership somewhere, maybe a little pitch and putt, a little driving range, somewhere you can practice the putting greens. Maybe on the Monday, Tuesday after the closing bell, you go out there, get a couple swings, that helps to clear the membrane, and that will help the writing thoughts, flow a little easier.
Yeah, maybe. Once the weather starts heating, it's still about 40 degrees and 20-mile-an-hour wind today, so not my type of golfing weather today, but it's coming soon. It is coming soon.
Yeah, I heard, maybe 60 in Boston on Friday. It's just crazy here. I'm going to close. I used to close the show like this, and I, for some reason, stopped, and I can't even remember how I used to say this, but especially with Massachusetts now being live, March 10th, the mobile apps will be live, up to 10 of them. Jesus. I mean, you talk about a grab bag. I don't think Mass is going to allow the put $5 in, get 200. They're going to really try to be responsible. As PB says, yeah, nice golf weather here. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
But what I'd like to do very simply is this: is if you are gambling, and I use the word gambling, and you do have a problem, just ask for help. Okay? There is an 800 number available, and this is usually where I say, ask for help. Why? because I care, and I know Riley cares, and I know everyone here at ECSI care. Okay, we're trying to educate, we're trying to teach, we're trying to talk out on a day-to-day basis on how to do this responsibly. Anyone that's an ECSI VIP member, they know how we do it. It's a 6-day grind, and on Sunday we do a little action parlay. The week's done. The last 12 weeks, we've had 9 envelope Mondays. We've had 1 losing week, and we've had 2 pushes, and we've moved on. This week, we're up 1.2 units to start the week. Okay. You can do this in a responsible manner. Okay. But if you do have a problem, the hardest thing in life is to ask for help. Okay. And there are an 800 number. Listen, my DM's always open. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, I got some stories that will make your head in the back go up like this. I'll make your head spin like Gary. I've lived it. I've breathed it. I've walked it. It's not a fun spot to be in. Okay. So, but there is help, and you can do this responsibly. Okay. So again, there is an 800 number. I promise I will start to close our shows with that 800 number. I might actually have our web team have that up here as we get going moving forward, as Mass really kicks the tires and gets this thing going. But again, this is more for, I don't want to say public entertainment, because that's the problem that most people have. At the end of the week, when they lose, they just chalk it up as their entertainment money, their funny money, and it served the purpose for the 7 days. And you guys don't understand that there's 100 of those guys that are paying your bookie's mortgage, his car payment, his kids' tuition, his 3 weeks in Vegas, his month in Tahiti, and his other month in the Bahamas. You funded it because you don't like to get paid on a weekly fashion, or you don't like to say, wow, bucks, let me collect that $100 instead of saying, it's a free swing. I'm going to go turn that 100 into 500. And Riley can attest, everyone can attest, that doesn't happen very often. So please, please, please do it responsibly. That's all we ask. From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, from the one and only Riley Magnuson at Riley_Magnuson, the one. We wish everyone a blessed day, a blessed evening. Have some fun. Stay in your lanes. At 7 o'clock, myself and Scotty Webb will return talking some MLB, some WBC. We'll talk about some futures, some spring training, some moves in that way. And again, the opening statement here is Monday through Friday around 4 or 4:30 Eastern. There will be a closing bell, whether it's me and Riley, whether it's me, whether it's Riley with a guest, me with a, whatever. We'll make sure we're here at least for 20 minutes, half hour. We'll get the board done. And we're here for any DMs, Kiefer, PB, TJ, everyone else that's always here. We'll answer a question on a game or so. So listen, have a great night, guys. Behave and stay tuned.